Hey everybody, let's go ahead and get started today. My name is Justin Fishaw, and I'm the marketing director here at DigitalSherpa. Joining me today will be Sarah Mincher. She is our content marketing manager. We're both very excited today to discuss some of the hot topics, some of the pain points you guys have in your online marketing, and kind of work through those, break them down, and give you guys hopefully some very digestible answers that can allow you to grow your business online. Before we get into the specific agenda today, I want to give you a little bit of background on why we're doing this specific webinar and where I got the idea from. The idea stems from when I was kind of randomly one day on Reddit, and I discovered just how popular their AMAs are, which stands for Ask Me Anything. Those of you that are unfamiliar with Reddit or the format that they use, it's basically where celebrities and other famous, interesting people log on to Reddit and answer live questions from the public. And past guests include Bill Gates, Peter Dinklage from Game of Thrones, Bill Nye the Science Guy, even President Obama has done one. Since I'm obviously not as famous as these guys that I mentioned, I was still inspired to kind of put this format to work for DigitalSherpa and our audience, which are all you lovely people that are tuning in right now. So long story short, I kind of created this campaign and sent out this idea, not really knowing what would happen to our contacts, which is about 25,000 people. Now I know our audience included a mix of both, eager to learn business owners and marketers, as well as skilled and knowledgeable types. And I was really overwhelmed with the response that we got. So to kind of warm you guys up into where to answer your questions or where to ask your questions, go to the question area if you could right now. Just give me a guess out of 25,000 how many responses you think we got with questions. And I'll wait for you guys to fill those in. And 50 out of 20, no, 10, higher than that. 3,500. We would have been in trouble if there was 3,500. 2,070. The answer, it's 479. Now, 479 out of 25,000 does not seem like a huge percentage, and I guess it's really not. However, when we quickly realized that we'd have to personally answer every one of these questions, we were then reminded that the AMA format actually allows them to pick and choose their answers, which of course we could not because we promised that we would answer every single one. Well, a lot of good actually came from that. We learned a lot about, problems and challenges and questions that you guys have when it comes to online marketing. And we also got a chance to give some real advice that will hopefully kind of translate into real business success. So from all of the 479 questions, we found the most common challenges and broke them into 4 categories. And that's what we'll talk about today. So we're going to break these down, like I said, into 4 categories. It includes social media marketing, content marketing and blogging, local search marketing, website design, and branding. So the format today, within each category that I mentioned, we're going to present 2 questions, a very common occurring basic level question, and then a very commonly occurring advanced level question. And then within each question, we'll break it down to the root, help define it, give you some best practices and even some real life examples to learn from. So hopefully you guys brought some pen and papers, or if you're using Evernote or whatever you're using to take notes, hopefully we'll give you a lot to write down and a lot to think about for yourself, your business, or your clients if you're a marketer. Lastly, as we kind of go throughout this today, we're going to answer 8 questions. Please feel free to type your own questions into the question box, and we're going to have a section at the end of the webinar, hopefully 5, 10, 15 minutes where we can get to other questions that you have and hopefully help out with any other topic in the online marketing world that we can. So let's go ahead and get started on the presentation today. First, I want to introduce myself. My name is Justin Fishaw. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm the marketing director here at DigitalSherpa. I guess if you had to put my job in one sentence, it would be manage and execute the inbound lead generation program here, which that kind of really fuels the growth for DigitalSherpa. That's the boring stuff. The more interesting things are, because I want you guys to get to know who we are too. I was born and raised in the Metro Detroit area. Go Tigers. I own and operate an apparel company, Simplified, for about 10 years now, and I'll use my company as a small business example in a couple slides on this presentation. I have a Boston Terrier named Uncle Jesse, and that's him with me in my on my wedding day in the bow tie. And when I'm not working, which is pretty rare, you can find me, kind of getting to know Atlanta, since this is kind of a new city for me, with my dog and my wife, Serena. And like I mentioned, I do have Sarah Mincher with us today, who's our content marketing manager. I'm going to turn it over to her so she can introduce herself.
Hi guys, I'm Sarah Mincher, and I'm the content marketing manager at DigitalSherpa, which basically means I'm responsible for the content and social media marketing strategy. I feel really passionate about helping small businesses, and I'm really looking forward to speaking on this today with you. So a few more interesting things about me is I'm from Seattle, so I love Starbucks. I have a horse named John Lennon, and I'm a two-time winner of Creative Loafing's Best of a Twitter of Atlanta award. Very proud of that.
That's great. We both have animals with very interesting names. So let's go ahead and get into the kind of the meat of the presentation. The first category that we'll be talking about today is social media marketing. And the number one question kind of on the basic level that we received from many people was, how do I start and implement social media marketing for my business? And I'm going to hand this one over to Sarah to let her talk about it today.
Okay, well, first off, that is a great question. We get it all the time. So just to break it down, social media marketing refers to the use of social media websites like Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest, and other social networks to connect with customers and prospects to build a community. So let's start with the basics. How do you do this? What makes a solid foundation for social media marketing success for your business? Your website, strategy, content, and social media are all necessary ingredients for online success. Your website should be your home base where your business information and content, such as blogs and ebooks, hang out. Your social media is then a vehicle to distribute that content. So your website and social media should work hand in hand with each other to reach your online goals. If you feel slightly overwhelmed by all the different social networks, which is totally understandable, I recommend your business begin by creating a Facebook brand page. Facebook is still the largest and most active social network in America, and it's really important your business has a Facebook page. So once you've created a Facebook page, here are a few best practices to keep your page active and engaged. Number one, you want to post a new Facebook status 1 to 2 times a day. More than that can come off slightly obnoxious to your fans and you're going to flood their timeline and annoy them, but posting less than that can come off like you don't care about your online fans, or that you're lazy, or maybe that your business isn't doing well. An active online presence creates the impression of a healthy real-life business. Next, you want to make sure to answer and respond to all comments, questions, and messages. View these online interactions as customer voicemails. I'm guessing you wouldn't ignore voicemail, so you shouldn't ignore online interactions either. For the status itself, keep your actual Facebook post short and sweet, always include a visual, and try asking questions to increase engagement. Always include a link to the blog content or offer you are discussing with a call to action such as click here to read more or click like if. If you clearly tell your reader what you want them to do, there's a good chance they will actually do it. Finally, the most important step for any social network is to use analytics to measure the success of your current strategy. You can do this by using a really cool tool called Facebook Insights. So this next slide is a basic rundown of how you would use Facebook Insights. First, you want to click on the Insights tab in the top left corner of your Facebook page. Next, click on the Post button. This page, and that's what you're viewing now, will give you a weekly rundown of the days and times your fans are online and most active. That's what you see here. Scroll over the graphic to find the daily time when your fans are online. This is the specific daily time you should post your Facebook update each day. By posting when the majority of your fans are online, you increase the amount of fans who will be exposed to your content and to your business. So, in summary, social media is about having a website filled with great content and then correctly distributing that content to different social channels. To go a little bit more in depth on this, let's go to our next question.
It seems like we're having a little bit of lag here on the slides, guys, and I apologize for that. So I see. It looks like we're having some slide issues. Can you guys hear me though? Is the audio working fine? Okay. All right. So the audio is working fine. The slides are lagging a little bit. So if you can, just follow along with us as we go through the audio. Hopefully the slides will catch up. If not, we'll be sure to match the audio with the slides, kind of post-production, and we'll go ahead and email out the final recording so everything kind of matches up and makes sense. And I apologize that. But the key here is what we're saying, I promise you. So no worries on that. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the next question, which is, how do I increase my business's Facebook presence? And I'm going to go ahead and take this one. So this really is increasing the Facebook presence for a business is really kind of the $1,000,000 question, one that we get asked the most on the social media side, Facebook being kind of the most important topic to most small business owners. There's 1 billion people on Facebook, so likely that's the area that people want to target. So to fully understand this question, let's go back a little bit into history to early 2012, when as a Facebook business page owner, when you posted something, 16% of your fans would see it. They'd receive it organically through their news feed. So if you had 1,000 fans, 160 of them would be shown your post. Now, 16% obviously is not a lot, especially when you consider, and I'm sure you guys can relate to this, all of the time and energy and even the money we all spend to kind of grow our Facebook fans and our likes. So in today's age, we kind of realize that Facebook is kind of squeezing us a little bit to make us pay. So then the question becomes, how can I reach all of my fans without having to really pay, give Facebook my money to promote to the fans I already have? Well, honestly, you can't. It's, reaching all of them is impossible. Trends are showing that we're actually dropping. If you have less than 500,000 fans, which is, I'm sure most of us, in the last year, you've seen organic reach go from 4,000 to about 2% now. Now, the reason for this, as Facebook explains, is that there's over 50 million business pages, and 30 million of those are small businesses, and we're all vying for the attention of 1 billion users. Now, 1 billion sounds like a lot. We should be able to evenly distribute our content, no problem, right? Well, the problem is that there's a finite amount of available real estate in the users' news feeds. So as we, all start producing more and more content on Facebook through our Facebook pages, that news feed becomes cluttered, and Facebook is in the business of, giving their users the best experience. So they start to drop the amount of reach that we all have. Now, as far as I'm concerned, Facebook still has a ton of value, even though it's 2% possibly. I still think there's a lot of opportunity to kind of distribute your content and get some real good engagement. But there's some strategic moves you can do, and let's go over those a little bit. So to increase your Facebook presence, and Facebook marketing and increasing your Facebook presence, it's like all online marketing. It's about really knowing who your audience is. Now, this is going to be a reoccurring theme today, is kind of understanding your audience, because in this day and age online, it's kind of the core of optimizing your online presence. So to understand your audience, ask yourself these questions. How well do I really know my audience? Do I know when they actually use the Facebook? And you can figure that out, like Sarah just showed us with the insights. Do I know the types of content that they consume, the blogs they read, the other pages that they subscribe to or that they like? What kind of activity do they do on Facebook? Do they like? Do they comment? Do they share? And then, what makes them? What motivates them to actually take some type of action online? And all of these things you want to know, because when you have these answers, you kind of have the basic foundation and the understanding necessary to really engage your audience. And once you have that understanding, you can then entertain and educate them accordingly. So I'm gonna go through a couple ideas here and rules I like for increasing your Facebook presence. So let's start with the Shaq rule. Yes, I'm talking about that Shaq, Shaquille O'Neal. If you didn't know, he's kind of a media darling. He's got many companies. He's done movies, video games, rap albums. He's done it all. So He has this rule that he's ruled out called the Shack rule. It's 80-15-5. It's a content distribution model. And what it basically says is that 80% of your posts should be entertaining. It should be entertainment focused. 15% should be informative or interesting. And then 5% should be promotional and kind of salesy. Now, let me give you an example, a small business example of how you could use this model to develop your content strategy on Facebook. So let's say you're an HVAC business, you're in the heating, ventilation, air conditioning world, and you're a very hyper local, you're focused on just your local community, trying to engage with local residents. So using this model, 80% of your content, let's say you're going to post videos and articles that are fun, viral type things with kids, pets, kind of real family oriented, plus some local community things that go on around your local area. So that would be 80% of your content. 15%, you'd want to do tips and tricks, say on saving on heating and air conditioning, things directly related to the industry that you're in and the services that you provide without being salesy at all. And then the 5% you want to use to push coupons, promotions, sales, offers, things that you have that will affect your top line and are going to drive sales and traffic back to your website. So that's what the Shack rule looks like. It's something that I follow and something I recommend giving a shot as well. The second tip is copy plus formatting equals engagement increase. The Facebook newsfeed is a very busy place. I'm sure you've all noticed. There's pictures and ads and links and automatic videos playing. There's just a ton of things out there. And working on your copy that you write in your updates and the formatting, kind of the way you lay it out, is a great way to really increase engagement. And I'm going to show you an example of a real life example of this in a slide in a second. The next is try to stay up to date with the latest in Facebook marketing. Now I know, we're all busy. If you're a small business owner, you're probably the busiest of us all. But to really get the most out of Facebook, you really have to kind of understand and know what's going to work today. For example, a month ago, Facebook told us as marketers and business owners that uploading pictures when you put a post up will increase the number of people that see it, right? So guess what? Everyone followed suit, and now there's too many pictures in the news feed. So now they recommend today that we just post the links and let the preview pop up and let them format the picture so they can control, how much space is being used. This is just an example of 1 month ago, they told us one thing, and now today there's another best practice rule that's out there. So, our job here at Digital Sherpa, obviously, if you followed our content, like most of you, I'm sure has, we try to keep you guys updated and informed in these best practices, and we'll continue to try to do that. But, anything that you can do to kind of do maybe a daily or a weekly, digestion of the latest best practices, I would highly recommend it. It can only help you. Lastly, sometimes you kind of just have to give in and accept the fact that Facebook is now kind of a pay-to-play platform. We're down to 2%. So they give us an opportunity, and honestly, a very affordable opportunity to promote our posts to our fans. So let me give you an example of what this can look like. So this is from, I know you can't see the slides right now, but I'll try my best to describe this. So when you're using that 5% in the Shack rule, and you're going to promote things that are actually going to affect your business, sales, signups, registrations, whatever it is you're pushing, these are the posts that you want to promote on Facebook. These are the ones that you can tie a direct ROI that says, if I spend $50, I know I need to get X amount of signups or X amount of sales to make, to cover for the initial investment into the Facebook ads. So, and I hate that you guys can't see this right now. And if you're watching this live or on the recorded video, you will be able to see it. So what it is it's a Facebook link. I'm sorry, it's a Facebook post that I did for Simplified that was promoting a sale that we were running on one specific item. Now, at the time, I had 3,500 fans, so I don't have a ton of fans. And I knew this, and I knew that my engagement was pretty low naturally, so I had to boost it. And I gave myself a $175 budget in an attempt to kind of push this sale and really drive some offline or some online sales for me in my web store. So I used what I call the 5 key ingredients for promoted post success. And I'll actually be doing a webinar on this in the near future. And I know I've mentioned that many times, but I promise I will do it soon. The 5 ingredients for promoted posts on Facebook. Number 1 is a targeted audience segment. My clothing line specifically prints things that are kind of Detroit focused. So I know that my audience is Detroit focused. And to make sure that I actually reach those that are, I use Facebook's audience segmentation tool that's built in that allowed me to target everyone who's not only in Detroit, but likes pages related to the Detroit sports themes and teams that I cover. Number 2 is I use high quality images. We're all kind of visual animals these days online, and we want to make sure that the imagery that we use as page owners catches our attention and kind of really engages us to stop and focus on this one post. Number 3, it's all about the copy, and the copy needs to create action. So it needs to have a kind of a built-in call to action. And also a good thing to add is urgency. So in this post, I said, back in stock, move quickly, they'll go fast again. And that's enough copy to push people to click the link and drive them to possibly buy. Number 4, speaking of the link, use a clear full link in your Facebook post. Don't use shortened links. This is why when I see a link and I don't know where I'm going, I'm not likely to click it just in fear of who knows where you're sending me. Could be spam, could be a phishing attempt. There's a lot of different things that could happen. So the more clear and descriptive your links are, the better you'll be and the more you'll see an increase in your click-through rates. And lastly, for me, I always add a giveaway or some type of contest because this has proven to increase shares and really my chance at virality. So in this post, I added win one by liking, commenting, and sharing. Contest ends 3/13/14. So from all of this and all these key components that I included, 1,228 people clicked the photo, 448 people visited my website. I got 63 new page likes, 282 post likes, 333 comments, and 39 shares, all for $175. So these are all great, fantastic measurements. Helps me a lot on social media. But like you, every dollar I spend is important to me, and I want to make sure that these dollars track back to real life sales. So what I discovered when I tracked it after the 1 week sale was that $175 spend on Facebook equaled $1,381 in sales. Now, obviously a great return on the initial investment. And the reason why this works and I think continues to work for me is because I fully understand my audience. I understand what makes them tick. I understand what makes them click. I understand kind of what motivates them to do anything online. And I keep repeating that formula over and over again. And I've seen this type of success multiple times a month. Every time I run a sale or I run a promotion on Facebook, I get this type of return. And I think this is a formula that can be repeated for yourself in your business. And I really challenge you guys to think about who your audience is on Facebook and then build your content strategy based off of that. All right.
Okay, great answer, Justin. So now we're done with the social part of the webinar. But if you have any additional questions about social media, please let us know in the comment box or tweet us using the hashtag SherpaAMA. So let's move on to talking about content. Our next question is, what the heck is content marketing and what goes into a successful content marketing plan? Justin?
Okay, I'm gonna drink water. So I checked the questions and it looks like the slides are still lagging. And again, guys, I apologize. We'll fix this post-production. So if you can, I'll try to describe the slides as I talk and hopefully, everything we're saying. We'll think of this as a podcast.
Yeah, it's a podcast now, not a webinar.
So I hope you guys are enjoying everything so far. And let me dive into content marketing here. So content marketing to me it's unique for me in that it's kind of a blanket term. It kind of covers a whole bunch of different things, yet it's also very specific to the online marketing world. And when I think about content marketing, this is a definition that I personally like a lot. It's pretty wordy, and I'm going to break this down for you later. But content marketing is the thoughtful creation of content designed for a specific audience to inspire a particular outcome. I think that's kind of the key to what content marketing is, and I kind of bolded some of the key terms. And then the second part of it that's important as well is it's often mapped to informational needs of a target audience segment during the customer journey. Now that's from awareness to purchase to advocacy. Now, I'm going to give this an example for you of a real life small business example. Let's think about a local pool company, right? Someone who keeps pools in stock, installs them, kind of does the whole A to Z pool thing. So when you break this down, you've got three types of buyers, or three buyer personas, right? You've got your prospective buyers, and this kind of follows along in the journey of going from discovery to advocacy. So you've got your prospective buyers, your buyers, and then your customers. So when in the prospective buyers or the research phase, you want to produce content that's going to bring them into your world. They may not know anything about you, yet they have questions, they have pain points, they have things that they need to figure out about this decision that they're trying to figure out. So what types of pools are there? What's the pros and cons of each type of pool? What are local events in my area that I can promote? These are all specific types of content that you can create that will drive this specific type of audience to you that are in this prospective buyer phase, right? So as that's running, you also understand now that people are, once they digest that information, they're going to move to possibly the next phase of the journey, which is buyer or very close to becoming a buyer. So they're going to look up things like, what's my best local pool company? How much does a fiberglass pool cost? What's better between a fiberglass pool and a concrete pool? What types of pool financing are available? Maybe you put together a guide to buying the right pool ebook. These are all content ideas that you can use to attract that type of visitor in that buyer's phase. So they're getting close to making a decision. They just kind of need to be sold with some really nice content. And then once you close them on that content and they become a customer, you want to take these customers and make them brand advocates, customer advocates for you. So they talk about your business. They talk about their great experience that they have. And the way you can do this is by giving them information like pool maintenance tricks, do-it-yourself tips, the latest trends on pool owners, just things that speak directly to them as, okay, I already own a pool. Now how do I live with my pool in the best way possible? This is a great example of how any company can use this model to develop content for each buyer persona in each step of kind of the buyer's journey. So I guess let's go back a little bit, content marketing example. So what is content? Content can be blog posts, it could be social media posts, press releases, long form articles, webinars, videos, infographics, even local business listings, pictures. I mean, basically anything that you put online can be qualified as content, but without proper planning and strategy behind this content, it's just content. It's not actual content marketing. Content marketing is what drives organic search traffic. It's what drives referral traffic, leads, downloads, and eventually new customers. So the harsh reality with content marketing is that creating content is hard. Getting real results from that content is even harder. Now, what you can't see on the slide right now is that there's two charts here, and I wanted to show these two charts from DigitalSherpa here since November 2011, because to do content marketing, you need a lot of patience. You need a great strategy, but you need a great amount of patience as well. And since 2011, November 2011 is when I started working on the content strategy here at DigitalSherpa. At the time, we had about 500 visits a month, organic visits a month, and no organic leads at all. We started with a basic strategy of let's just break down who our audience is, who we want to attract, and then let's create a blog post a day based on some of their pain points. And then let's try to get like 1 to 2 downloadable offers, like an ebook or a white paper or a template every month that they can download and kind of get a little bit, richer information from us as well. And kind of through consistency and constantly measuring, fine-tuning, and tweaking our content, we've been able to grow our organic traffic and leads month over month, now to a point where it's really the main driver of our new customers. we've gone from 500 visits to almost 21,000 this month from just organic traffic, people searching things and our content showing up. We've gone from virtually 0 leads in November 2011, to consistently over 300. I think we'll get to 350 leads this month. So it's a long journey. It's what, 2.5, almost 3 years. That's almost 3 years now. Next month will be 3 years. So stay consistent, stay focused, keep your strategy in front of you, and make sure you finally optimize everything that you're doing. And you will get results. And, to help drive some of those results, I kind of broke down some of the key ingredients I found in our success, and I think that we found in our client success, and just some basic research that we've done. So let's talk about quick the first ingredient. So the first one, I've kind of mentioned this already, is creating that buyer persona and that customer persona. It's just like we talked about with Facebook marketing. You need to understand exactly who it is that you're targeting. How do they behave online? Where do they read? What do they read? What are their pain points? What are the questions that they have? Once you understand that, you'll start to get a clear vision of who these people are, and then when you create content, you can speak directly to them. Second step is, again, kind of what I broke down in the pool example, is you need to know your customer's journey. So what does it look like from the first time they research a possible subject in your industry to when they actually sign up to become your customer? There's going to be stops along the way, different phases. Map that out, and then start to create content for each one of those buyer personas as they move along that map, as they move along from visitor to customer to advocate. Those are the top 3 key ingredients. And then you want to obviously have tools in place that are like editorial calendars, content planning management. If you don't want to create your own in Excel, I recommend using a service called Trello, T as in Tom, RELLO.com. And then we're also going to send out a free editorial calendar template that we created. We'll make sure I send that in the follow-up email with the video recording. And then next, once you have all your content, you want to distribute this content, right? So you want to get it out to your social media platforms. You want to use native advertising like Outbrain in Taboola, Taboola, and then also bookmarking sites like StumbleUpon, Dig, and Reddit. It's all a great way to kind of, maximize the impact that your content has. And then lastly, like Sarah mentioned, with social media marketing, you always want to measure and you want to see the analytics behind things you're doing. So, use Google Analytics, Facebook Insights, Twitter has a great analytics platform now. And then any other these other content distribution networks, they're all going to have a built-in analytics software. Use them to make sure that you're constantly fine-tuning and, focusing on areas that are driving real business results for you. Now, a few areas a few examples that I wanted to give you, and again, write these down. I'm not going to go into every single one. There's a lot of small businesses that have had great success with content marketing, and I want to name a few for you that you can write down and do some research on, and you'll be able to see clearly why they're successful once you go to their site. Go check out Lauren Luke, LAUREN LUKE. Also check out goruck.com, GORUCK.com. Birchbox, BIRCH box. It's a great site. You probably see them all over Facebook. Dollar Shave Club. Hopefully you've seen their awesome YouTube commercials that they've has gone viral, and it's really great stuff. And then I think DigitalSherpa, I think we're a good example of a small business success story with content marketing, kind of just given the statistics I've shown you. So I'm happy to share that information with you if you guys are interested in more. So that wraps up the content marketing and blogging side of things. Again, if you have questions about any of that, continue to put them into the questions box. We'll get to some in the end as well. So the next section we're going to move to is local search marketing. Now, obviously, with most of our audience being small businesses, and small businesses tend to have a very local approach to, they either have a brick and mortar store or they just focus kind of in the local area. So a lot of questions that we did field were based on, how can I grow in my local market? So we took kind of all those, and we developed 2 questions that kept reoccurring over and over and over again. So question number 5, the first question in the local search marketing was, how do I get my business listed in all the online business directories? And I'm going to pass this one over to Sarah, and she's going to take it from there.
Okay, so first off, let's start with, what are online business directories? Business directories are websites that categorize businesses in a searchable online index. A few years ago, we all did this by using actual yellow pages. I'm sure you can remember them. They were huge. It was kind of hard to find stuff.
They're probably on your front door right now.
Exactly, probably. And they were only updated once a year, which was really inefficient if your business changed location or phone number. You had to wait till the next year to update it. Thankfully, yellow pages are now online and they're super easy to use, and you can update the information whenever you want. Now, being on these directories is very important to your business because they enhance your website's visibility and create inbound links back to your website, which strengthens your SEO and makes your business easier to find for potential customers. So there are 2 basic ways to get your business listed on these sites. First off, you could go through a business directory submission service who take care of the listing process for you. These services include Localese, listmybizlocally.com, and we actually provide this service here at DigitalSherpa. Our dashboard services can list you on over 144 listing sites, so feel free to chat us after the webinar if you want more information on that. The second and slightly more time-consuming approach to getting listed on these sites is like a DIY manual approach. You would need to manually visit each directory and submit your business information to them. So if you want to go this route and save yourself a little bit of money and list your businesses yourself, I recommend that you start out with Google and Bing places. These are the most popular websites and the ones that you have to be on. After that, I'd go to Yahoo Local Listings, Yelp, and Merchant Circle. And then after that, if you still want to list yourself, which you should be doing, we recommend that you move on to yp.com, Yellow Pages, White Pages, Super Pages, City Search, and of course your Facebook page. You want to make sure your address, email, and phone number are correct on your Facebook page because that's also a searchable directory. So whether you choose to go with a business directory submission service like we talked about, or are kind of more of a DIY business owner and you want to do it yourself, please just make sure you take the time and effort to be on these directories. You've put too much time and effort into your business not to be found, and these are the perfect ways for customers to find you. And of course, when we mail you a copy of these slides, all the different directories I talked about will be on them, so just don't worry about writing them all down now.
Good. Great. Yeah, business directories are it's a great opportunity for small business owners because Google and Bing continues to bump kind of local business listings in search up to the first page. So if they're searching for you specifically, you're able to kind of control the message that comes up on Google, and which is very important, obviously. So the little more advanced topic that we kept getting questions about was kind of using social media for local marketing. So we kind of broke it down to, how do I use social media to reach local customers, and if you're B2B, local businesses?
Okay, and this is a great question, and we get it all the time. If your brand only services a particular geographic location, or maybe you don't ship worldwide, social media is a great tool to reach customers. So once again, let's start out with the basics of local search. You want to start reaching your local audience by joining and being active in maybe local LinkedIn groups, Yelp groups, and Facebook groups that are based around your industry and communities. These are a great place to get the word out about your business while potentially getting honest feedback from your customers. You can also network with other professionals in your industry in these groups and share insider tips and ideas. So joining these groups, it's just like the perfect place to build an online community, which then can turn into a real life community, which equals loyal customers and increased business. Now you can also target specific local Facebook users by using the promoted post option. I know Justin was talking about using that earlier. It was simplified. So let's say you have a great upcoming offer that only applies to a specific audience demographic, like a discount to dinner at your restaurant. This is the perfect kind of offer to use for a promoted post. You would want to write out a Facebook post on your latest offering using the best practices that we went over earlier, and then click the Boost Post option at the bottom of your status. This will allow you to pay for the post to be seen by a specific demographic of your choosing. You can even go more in depth with this option and with the demographic you target by using the Facebook Power Editor, but that is a really in-depth topic. If you want to know more about the Facebook Power Editor, please tweet me and I'd be more than happy to talk to you about it. So along with Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn ads also have built-in advertising features that let you search and target locally. So if you want to advertise on these platforms, there's lots of really great ways to target local users. However, if you want to target or search for specific audiences without paying for advertising, which I understand it can get to be very expensive, there are really affordable third-party platforms like Hootsuite or Sprout Social that make this very easy. I use both of those platforms here at DigitalSherpa, and I'm a really big fan of them. So I know you cannot see this example, but when we mail it out, you will be. This is an example of a local search using the Sprout Social search option. I searched the term car broke down specifically on Twitter within 100 miles of Atlanta, and there are hundreds of results. So let's say you were an auto body shop or a rental car service. You could use this tool to see who is having car problems within your business's radius in real time and then reach out to them on social media to provide assistance. So let's break this down into real terms. Sprout Social starts out at $60 a month. So if I'm a rental car service and I use this local search service and can find and service around two customers a month, this service has more than paid for itself. And I promise you, you would use this much more than twice a month. So to wrap up what we're talking about with local search, staying connected with your local audience is incredibly important for your small business. So I recommend you try out these different tips. So now we're going to move on to our last section, unless you have anything you want to add, Justin.
No.
Okay, so our last section for the day, until we get into our question and answer, is website design and branding. The first question is, and we get this all the time, it's incredibly important, is how often should I update my website?
Thanks, Sarah. Yeah, so, again, it's a very common question. And, our audience here and many small business owners are very busy, and I've mentioned it a million times already, but we kind of all hope that, like, wouldn't it be great if I just had a website and that was like enough, and that I was good, I had a website, I've checked the box. Well, that used to be okay, kind of. It was an old thought process that we used to have, and something that you'll also often hear called the build it and forget it syndrome. And common symptoms of this syndrome include outdated design elements, unresponsive design that makes it basically impossible to read your website on your phone. There's little to no content, no blog content, really no content at all. And then there's no interaction, there's no social media, there's nothing on there. It's and this idea of this build it and forget it, it stems from kind of web 1.0 days, like late 90s, early millennium, early 2000s, where we kind of just, all business owners said, oh shoot, I gotta have a website. I'll just copy my company brochure and put it online, right? So that's what everyone did. And websites at that time, they were very stagnant and shallow with content. They really, they kind of just lacked any and all personalities possible. And this is obviously not the case anymore. Today's web online world is it's about content. It's about fresh, in-depth, relevant content that, consistently speaks to a specific and a desired audience. And websites that get the most traffic, websites that have the greatest impact on an actual business, they're websites that are constantly changing. They're constantly being updated, fine-tuned, and optimized for performance. And to kind of help you build that, if you currently have a website, to rebrand it, or if you don't have a website, to kind of get you started, I put together and this is the last question, I'll just kind of roll through this one, is the 10 things that every website should have. And I'll go slow if you want to write these down. If not, obviously we'll give you the slides in the video. So the 10 core components of an optimized website. Number 1, branding that matches your products or services. Now, this is an extremely important thing, and it's tough to kind of like nail down exactly what this means, but branding to me overall is when I visit your website, it's the feeling I get. It's how I automatically categorize you, what I think about your business as a visitor. So that branding should match the products or services that you offer. So if you're offering a fun, like the Dollar Shave Club, for instance, if you are familiar with them, or if you go to their website right now, you'll see that they kind of, they're witty, they're kind of tongue-in-cheek, they're very fun, and the product matches it. They kind of, took on an industry that was an old school razor industry, and they kind of had fun with it. And from that, they've created this consistent brand message that you get from their website, from their videos, from their content, from everything that they do. I think that's a key component to an optimized website. Number 2 is responsive design. Here at Digital Sherpa, over 50% of our traffic comes from people viewing on a mobile, so on their cell phones. If your website is not mobile optimized or not responsive, which basically means no matter what type of device they're on, phone, tablet, desktop, laptop, whatever it is, the site will move and correctly kind of realign, so it always has a great kind of user experience and readability. Very key for keeping people on your website and engaging in the content that you have. Number 3 is, stay up to date with design trends and fonts. You don't have to be trendy or, be design oriented, but websites go through kind of this natural progression over time where all websites could seem to look like the same, and then they all change at the same time, then they all change again at the same time every couple of years. So if you're a couple changes behind, it's going to be obvious, and it's not going to reflect well on your business. Certain visitors will look at it as if the business isn't open. They're obviously not interested in focusing on their website. Just not good signs you want to kind of give to visitors that visit your site. Number 4 is excellent copy. Now, excellent copy, the words that are on your site, are important for two main reasons. Number 1, for SEO value, for search engine optimization value. Google and Bing, they're going to crawl your site, and they're going to look for specific keywords and a clear understanding of who you are, what you offer, and why your customers should care. So with that, when you're writing your copy, the other half of it is you want to write copy that clearly not only tells Google who you are and what you are and why they should care, but it tells your customers that, or your potential customers, they can get to your site and within 5 to 10 seconds clearly understand who you are and what you have to offer me. And that's a very important thing to make sure you focus on when designing or rebranding a website. Number 5, blog or other content. A blog originally was developed, in kind of the business world to give you an avenue to constantly create content which constantly updates your website. So Google continues to crawl your site, which continues to, index pages and give you more and more SEO value, which in turn drives more and more organic traffic to you. So if you don't have a blog, start by simply, a WordPress blog or just creating pages on your website with new content, because this is going to kind of be the kickoff point for you to really look good in Google and Bing's eyes. Number 6, CTAs and forms to capture leads. Now, when you're creating all this content and you're driving people to your website, you want to get their information at some point. So whether you're just a blog and you want to capture email addresses, then have a pop-up or pop-over or a sidebar capture form that allows people to subscribe to your blog. If you're a business, you want to have a contact us form, a demonstration form, a free consultation form, a free appointment form, something that allows you to take a everyday visitor and let them kind of move down the sales funnel towards an actual lead. The next is number 7, which is a social media integration. We're all online social beings these days. I think 1 billion Facebook posts says enough that we like social media and we like interacting with people. And when we come to a website, we kind of have these, built-in little things in our minds that say, I wonder how many Facebook fans they have. I wonder how many reviews they have on Yelp. I wonder how many Twitter followers they have. These are all social signals that build trust in the visitors. And even if you have 50 followers or 100 followers, give me a way to go view your Facebook page and see that you're actively using your Facebook page and you're engaging with your users. Because to me, that gives me a good sign of who you are as a business owner and tells me what I can expect from your company. Next is logical navigation. When you go to a website, you want to make sure, when you look at your website, you want to make sure that your navigation is simple, it's intuitive, and I can easily go through your site without getting lost behind, links or pages or bad navigation. So take a look at your site, kind of put yourself in the mind of a visitor who doesn't know who you are, and kind of just see how intuitive that navigation actually is. Second to last is crucial business information. Now, this seems obvious, right? If you have a website, you should have your address on it, you should have your phone number on it, you should have, your email, everything that's kind of crucial to getting in contact with you. You'd be surprised how many businesses forget this information, or they don't have like an about page that kind of breaks down who you are and why you do what you do. This is crucial. This is information that tells me about your business and your products and kind of why you're in business. And then it gives me the information I need to get in touch with you if I need to. And last is personalization. Like I mentioned earlier, we're all online social beings. Nobody wants to feel like they're doing business with a company or a business or a building or a robot. They want to talk with people no matter what you sell, no matter what your services are. Human-to-human interaction is key online today. And you want to make sure that your website feels personal, that the copy you write is personal, and that you kind of have a human touch to your website. Respond to emails as you, an actual manager, owner, marketer, not as the business owner. People want to do business with other people, so make sure that you're kind of working that personalization into your website. Okay, so again, we apologize for the slide issue. We ran through this 3 times and didn't have any slide issues in the past, but that's just kind of go figure. So we have some time for some questions, I believe. We've got about 5 to 10 minutes for questions. And again, anyone who who registered for this, so whether they're on right now or not, you will receive an email with the link to the recorded webinar, which hopefully we can match up with the slides. But you'll also get the slides with it, and then we'll send you a couple links to some free templates and things that'll help with some of the content that we covered today. If we don't get to your questions, please feel free to tweet us. Questions and comments, it's at DigitalSherpas, plural, on Twitter. You can use the hashtag SherpaAMA, or feel free to drop us an email at contact@digitalsherpa.com. So let me jump into some of these questions here. Okay. All right. First question we have is from Johanna. What are your thoughts on elite type of companies where their sites are one page, a logo with maybe an address and a phone number, and that's it? At what point at all are they losing customers from having that type of exclusivity assumption that they are million-dollar businesses, right? And it's funny, we look at websites and we make assumptions based on what we see. And depending on the industry, I think kind of these are often described as like, splash pages or just a very simple one-pager. They can be effective if, let's say, you're a company ready to launch and you're looking for just people can join a waiting list. Like there was a recent social media site, a new social media site called Hello. It's kind of hello without the H. It's kind of gone viral this last week, and people are kind of joining a waiting list. And a very simple one-page website can be great for that. The exclusivity works well for them. It's tough to say, honestly, depending on the type of business that it is, because if it's a consumer business where, like, say it's a brick and mortar store, exclusivity or like lack of content can intrigue me to make me want to go visit, but it can also turn me off that they didn't take a lot of time, or they don't care about me as a consumer trying to get more information about them. So kind of with that, I think if you're one that's going to test it, I would say make sure that one page or all the content that you put up, make sure it's responsive, the site's responsive, make sure that it looks like it's brand new, updated with the most current trends, and that will kind of speak well to me as a branding point instead of someone who puts up a one pager and it's just kind of an old theme, old format, and there really isn't any kind of thought behind it. Okay, another question here from Steve is, can your blog be hosted on a separate site than your website, like a separate WordPress blog? Good question. Again, one that we get pretty often. The ideal situation for you is that you can have a blog, but what you need to do is need to either map it to your subdomain or your subfolder. So it's either yoursite.com/blog or blog/yoursite.com. This will allow you to really kind of tie it all in together and get you the most SEO value possible. I have another one here from Linda. How long should my blog articles be? Oh boy, that's another one of those questions, and I can only kind of tell you what's worked for us and what I've read from kind of Matt Cutts, who's the head of kind of Google search. I would suggest, and again, this isn't for everything, but the majority of your posts, I would say 250 plus 300 words. The more the better, but there's also a cap. It's not kind of this infinite amount of content you can have. But like with anything online, and I'm a big advocate of this myself, is test to see what type of content works for you, what's driving organic traffic, what's getting the most shares. And I think when you start off kind of using the steps I outlined with kind of understanding who your buyer persona is, where they are in the journey, and then kind of figuring out what pain points you want to answer, it'll allow you to kind of naturally answer questions without limiting yourself to any word count. So you'll end up naturally getting the full answer out there, and you may find it falls into 300 words or it might fall into 600 words. But Google's going to appreciate kind of the natural use of content, natural use of keywords and information, and they'll in turn kind of rank you higher for addressing that question, because Google's in the business of answering questions at the very basic level.
Again, I'd like to jump in and say that your content should be educational and helpful to that reader. And it's really hard to provide a valuable content that's less than 300 words. I mean, to me, 300 words is just enough to introduce the topic and kind of get through the basics. So always keep in mind that it's better to write a little bit more and to go a little bit more in depth as opposed to just briefly talking about a subject. You always want to position your brand as a thought leader, and it's hard to do that if you're just writing one paragraph blog articles. So go a little bit longer if you can.
Absolutely. Another question we have here from Jonathan is, more content questions. What's the ideal length of an ebook? So, I guess when you think of like an ebook, you often think of like just an online digital version of a book. It could be the Game of Thrones books, or it could be anything. It could be.
Well, that's a long length.
Right. Yeah. It's too much scrolling for me. But an ebook to me in its basic form is taking a topic that you don't want to cover in an ebook, in a blog post, and maybe because it's just too long, it's too in depth, and turning it into a downloadable piece of content. Now, this is a great way to capture leads, obviously. So for us, we go 2,500, 3,500 words, depending on the topic, sometimes shorter, sometimes longer. So I really think that if you can trust your gut on answering what you're trying to answer in the content creation process, you'll find yourself landing in the right area of content length. All right, guys, we got time for one more here. Again, if you have any other questions that come up, tweet us, email us at content@digitalsherpa.com. We'll be happy to answer. Lastly, besides Facebook, and this is from Valerie. Besides Facebook, what's the most important social media marketing channel? I have my opinion, but I'll let Sarah take this one.
Well, first of all, I think it really depends on your industry. If you're more of a B2B brand, you should definitely be very active on LinkedIn. If you are an interior designer or in fashion, Pinterest will be very important to you.
House as well.
And house as well. Or if you do jewelry, Pinterest is very important to you. But across the board, I'd probably say Twitter. Besides Facebook, it is the second most popular social network. People are constantly tweeting, they're constantly checking it, and I am more likely to go to someone's Twitter page than their Pinterest page right off the bat. That just feels more natural and organic to me. So I would pick Twitter, but I'm interested to hear what Justin has to say.
I mean, I think you hit it right in the beginning. It really depends. If you have a consumer goods product, and if like for me, for Simplified, it's a very visual product, right? Like describing it in words does nothing to seeing it in pictures. So I tend to lean towards social networks that have more of a visual approach. Like Instagram for us is super huge, and that's just through kind of just having all the social networks and then seeing what works.
Right.
Because you may think, yes, Twitter is it. I'm going to nail it on Twitter. You get on Twitter, you grow, like we have like 1,500 followers on Twitter or something. Barely any engagement at all. It just doesn't match well with my audience. So the only way for me to find that out was to test it. Obviously thinking of the second most popular would be Twitter. I think Twitter works really well for kind of informational, topical type. And it's one of my personal favorites, but, try them. Think about your business, think about what would sell your products where you have a voice, and then kind of follow accordingly.
Yeah, it's great advice.
Yeah. So again, I want to thank everybody for joining in today, this webinar turned podcast. Again, we apologize for the technical issues we had, and hopefully we can correct all this post-production and match up the audio to the slides. At the very least, you'll have the audio and the slides that you can run side by side. Again, any questions that you have, please feel free to tweet us at DigitalSherpas.com, not .com, at DigitalSherpas, and you can email us at contact@DigitalSherpa.com. Again, thank you everybody for tuning in, and until next time, we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.